This is the continuation video on CCTV at Mundy Playing Fields. In the first half, you learnt about the hysteria over antisocial behaviour by youths. In fact, it was an incident of broken and ground glass in the paddling pool on the spring bank holiday weekend which set off the mass panic about youths out of control. This news item had been reported over a week earlier, and more conservatively, in the Thornbury Gazette, as well as here in the Bristol Evening Post, where a more alarmist position was taken. In fact, it was the Thornbury Gazette which began the anti-teenager frenzy, with this report which was written a couple of days before the Evening Post article about the week which followed the paddling pool incident. What you see is a description of youth antisocial behaviour bordering on total lawlessness on the streets of Thornbury. The local Vandals, the evangelical Christians, came to the rescue, taking over command at the Safer Stronger community group Thornbury and Alverston. Whilst they had their own motives for doing so, they were friends of the police, so what the police wanted would get higher priority. Whilst the gating idea was eventually dropped, a CCTV camera was installed. Quite how that was arranged is unclear. Here's the warning notice at the top of the fields where the nuisance was perceived to be. But where's the camera? Actually, at the bottom of the fields on the pavilion, up on the chimney stack. Remember that those domes contain a PTZ camera which can pan, tilt and zoom, so the top of the fields can be observed easily from so far away. Suddenly, the antisocial behaviour problem was solved. In September, the Town Council's Finance and Policy Committee reported a drop in police call-outs, but an increase in police patrols. The Gazette reported that the battle against unruly youths was being won, attributing this to increased police patrols and, of course, the CCTV cameras. The local paper not realising that there was only one camera. So much for local journalism. The minutes of the December meeting of the Safer Stronger Communities Group show that the police had not received any report of antisocial behaviour in the playing fields during the previous 3 months. Apparently, we had the CCTV camera to thank for this, and this provided the final blow which knocked the electronic gate idea right off its hinges. The Safer Stronger Communities Group had got its happy ending and could now focus on the real burning issues: pavements, lighting and parking. In January of 2010, the local paper was reporting that the police had dropped the playing fields as a priority. The antisocial behaviour had dropped away because of increased police patrols and the CCTV cameras, still in the plural notice. Oh, it was also winter, so bitterly cold in open spaces. Meanwhile, during 2009, during the heat of the hysteria about young troublemakers, residents in the vicinity of Mundy Playing Fields had been asked to maintain written logs of antisocial behaviour which they witnessed there. This began in the spring and continued into the autumn. By mid-September, the Town Council's Finance and Policy Committee reported that the police had received several complaints, but from only one person, and those complaints were not about youths at all, but about people leaving the late licence pubs at the weekends. So the big problem in Mundy Playing Fields was drinkers leaving high street pubs, I wonder which one, and taking a leak against the wall. In the meantime, the Town Council had decided to keep the CCTV camera, which it had received initially as a temporary freebie. The problem was from where the funding would come. South Gloucestershire Council, the unitary authority, rejected the application to the Safer Stronger Community Group's Initiative Fund because it was not part of the borough-wide CCTV plan. the town council had acted unilaterally without any proper consultation. In January 2010, the Town Council's Playing Fields and Cemetery Committee reported lamely that it would go to other departments at South Gloucestershire Council to see about alternative sources of funding. Later the same month, the Thornbury Gazette, our uninspiring local paper, reported that the Town Council had indeed successfully found a source of funding for the CCTV cameras. The paper still had not realised it was just one camera. Anyway, the source was council taxpayers! Hurrah! And this additional levy was by a town council that had not even wanted CCTV for the playing fields just over a year earlier. The local population must be delighted to know that it is paying for a CCTV camera which will not deter drunks from peeing against a wall, and since the area is in darkness, the camera won't even capture reliable evidence for any police action. It makes me proud to be a citizen of Thornbury. That just left one matter for the Vangie Police Council Coalition: what to offer youths to keep them from the obvious attractions of alcohol consumption, of using public areas as a toilet, and of vandalism. Back in the September group meeting, the vicar had outlined the many opportunities available to young people. I would imagine that church-related activities got some prominence. NGM also got a mention, what with Dan Budd as new chair. At the December meeting, even South Gloucestershire's youth service returned to the youthful antisocial behaviour issue. Apparently young girls were known to sleep all night in Mundy Playing Fields. Hopefully that wasn't where a young boy had just defecated. However, nothing much could be done then, as the local youth worker was on long-term sick. You couldn't make this up, could you? This was reported in the Thornbury Gazette, of course, with an expanded youth service in Thornbury in 2010. This would surely keep youths out of Mundy Playing Fields and other areas of town. If you see my videos on Thornbury's kebab van, you'll see how successful the youth service has been. So where are we all left now? In the dark. This is Mundy Playing Fields on Saturday the 27th of March 2010 at around 10:45 PM. This is from the bench, not far from the paddling pool, but higher up the field than the pavilion and looking towards the top. You can imagine what the CCTV camera picks up. I then film in the same direction at a few stops further up the path towards the close. If there were any youth there, I would only hear them, not see them. Finally, I am at the top by the Heritage Trail information plaque, panning across from the pavilion to the top end. This is the passage that leads out from the fields to the close.